Go to Etan Thomas. Etan, former Syracuse center. Etan, you've seen the games. The Syracuse fan base is frustrated. Where is your head as a former player with what's going on with Syracuse basketball?
So I understand the frustration, but there are positives still to take away from the game. The game was just honestly a tale of two halves. We looked a lot better in the first half. It just kind of fell apart in that second half. And turnovers was the biggest issue. We missed the key rebounds that I thought we really should have had down the stretch. But those turnovers, we gotta take care of the ball better. And turnovers lead to easy transition buckets the other way. So, our transition defense, of course, was a point of emphasis, but we were having too many turnovers, and that just makes it really difficult. But the positives are we got JJ back. That is a positive. He's not going to play the perfect game his first day back. I thought that he played well overall. Coach threw him right in there. He played 30-plus minutes. Of course, he got gassed towards the end, and it's a little bit rusty, but it's great having him back in the lineup. And I thought that really freed up a lot of the opportunity also for Chris Bell, who had a good game as well. So they're all positives that we could take away from this.
When you look at the front court defensively, what do you see?
Well, there's definitely room for improvement. I can say that.
Yeah.
We went to the zone a little bit, and some of the rotations were a little bit off. I know the fans were calling for us to, throw in some zone a little bit because we were struggling man-to-man, so that's just going to be a work in progress. I thought that, Donnie had a good game overall. He had a double-double. But I think that we got to get stops. You know what I'm saying?
Yes.
We got to be able to get stops, and we just wasn't doing that down the stretch.
When you look at the reasoning of getting stopped, like what is it on the defensive side of things? Is it not keeping your guy in front, or what aren't we seeing? And do you see Red making adjustments during the game?
Well, I know that Red is, the criticism is going to land on the coach.
Correct.
And so when things aren't going right, that's just the nature of the business. The coach is going to get all the credit when things go well and all the blame when things, don't go well. That's part of the game. Of course, they have to work on the rotations and, not only just staying in front of your man, but then rotating and the back end being back, all those different things, especially with the zone. There was a few times where a few guys were a little bit late on the rotation, and that's something that you just have to work on a string. The zone works on a string, so when the ball moves, you move, and that's just the way that it has to be. But again, trying to keep positive, because I know there's not a lot of positivity right now in the fan base. But let's say Chris Bell had a good game. He looked aggressive out there. He wasn't tentative. He was knocking down some threes. I think he had like maybe 4 threes. 18 points. That's a positive that we can look towards. So building on that, we got to just keep building on it. That's what it is.
Well, when you look at JJ being back in the lineup for this basketball team, like how does that change? And Eric talked about it, Devendorf, on the broadcast, the makeup of this team. But how does that change what you're doing offensively with this basketball team?
Well, it changes a lot because, one, he commands so much attention. He's able to score. He's able to create for himself. And, he's creating a shift in the defense. So some of that time, it's easier for Chris to get open. It's easier for Chris to kind of play off of. It's a lot different when you're the main focal point to when you're kind of the second focal point. So when JJ is on the floor, he's going to be the main focal point. That's just the caliber of player that he is. Even with the brace on his hand and him being a little bit rusty, he's still going to be the main focal point. So I think that it's a totally different ball game with JJ in that lineup, and that's why you saw Coach, didn't really hesitate to try to bring him along slowly. He's like, all right, you're ready to play? We'll put you in for 30 minutes.
Yeah.
Let you go.
Yeah, get out there and go for a while. You got a guy like Donnie Freeman, and you've seen the the upside of Donnie Freeman this year, and you've kind of seen the freshman lows. Like, how do you balance what you have with Donnie right now?
Well, he's definitely a talent, but there are going to be some times where you call the freshman woes. That's a good way to describe it. There are going to be some of those that you're going to have to live with when you have a young player, a young talented player. He's able to and capable of putting up a double-double. He's able to, knock down a jumper. He's getting better with his perimeter. You see him knocking down three every now and then. Able to score inside. Of course, sometimes you want him to play a little bit better defense, but all those things will come with time. But I think that with Donnie, you're going to have to there's certain things that you're going to have to just live with. And you can label them as freshman woes, but they're just going to be work in progress. And as long as, people can understand that part, the upside definitely outweighs the side that is the work in progress.
When we talk about rim protection on Syracuse basketball, it's just not there this year, it seems like. And nobody's going to block shots like you did, but it doesn't seem like there's anybody around the basket when, is that something that's easily fixable? Is that like a player being like, it's getting frustrating for fans to watch. Is that something that, maybe zone will help or that a player can fix during the season?
I mean, I don't know. You don't have a whole lot of just shot blockers.
Yeah.
I know Naheem McLeod is a shot blocker.
But even if you're just there, if somebody's there to make someone alter a shot, it doesn't seem like that's even there.
Yeah, but Eddie Lampkin is not a shot blocker though. Yeah. That's not when you look at his list of attributes. Coming into the season, shot blocker wasn't one of them.
Well, that's what I was saying was, even though we don't have the shot blocking, shouldn't somebody be in front of the rim at that point?
I hear what you're saying. That comes with the rotation and being able to rotate and be back. And I think a lot of times you have guys going out on the perimeter a little bit more. So, one of the differences, and I talked about this with Renze, talked about with a few other big guys, we didn't go out on the three-point line. Yeah. We covered an area. And if that was our domain, talked with Bully a lot. And anybody coming to our domain, we're there. So we're going to be there. But now you have guys rotating, covering out to the three, the pick and roll. They have to, hedge and recover, and then sometimes that leaves the middle open. So that's just part of a defensive strategy that's kind of, you could say evolved, or you could say that's changed since back in the day. So I think that's one of the things. Sometimes it leaves the middle kind of vulnerable.
Is it the makeup then of guys being able to step out and hit that? I mean, heck, Florida State, it seemed like, threw you about 13 different guys in that basketball game. Is it just the makeup of college basketball today?
No, definitely. I mean, I didn't have to guard the perimeter. When I played, we played Georgetown. Johnny White wasn't going out shooting threes.
Definitely not. Definitely not.
It's just a different game.
Yeah. Speaking of a different game, before we get you out of here, like how, and you've seen it with the recruitment of your son, like what's that like nowadays as a coach comes into your house and recruiting process compared to how you were being recruited?
Well, the whole landscape is different now. Now that you have so now they're changing the rules and changing that maybe JUCO people can have it not count against their eligibility, so they can play 2 years in JUCO, my understanding, and then have 4 years eligibility left. So that changes the whole dynamic, and then they're discussing now being able to have 5 years eligibility for all players. And then once you include the transfer portal, so now for high school players, they're kind of at the bottom of the totem pole now. A coach will come and look at high school players, but then they'll have an experience, a player with 2 years of experience that's in a transfer portal, or somebody with 2 years experience now playing JUCO. So the entire recruiting process of coming out of high school is just completely different. And also as well, with NIL now, you kind of have to have representation when you come to a program and you want to go there. It's not just, okay, I like you as a player, you like us. It's like we can offer you this amount because our collective has raised this amount. And we know that, another school has offered you this, another school has offered you this, if you get this, we can match it. You know, it's just a whole different discussion now. So, I mean, like I said, the whole dynamic is completely different.
Yeah, it's not going into mom and dad's living room and sitting down saying, "Hey, do you want to come and play at Syracuse?" Anymore, as you mentioned, like that's neither here nor there anymore on the list of importance.
All right, Tom.
Well,
go ahead.
I would say that there is still, it's not like all is lost. There is still that element, but there's just another added element when you have the monetary part with it, because that's, you know, then you're looking at it more of a business.
Yeah.
And then the conversation is, we only have this amount that we can give you. So the conversation is just different.
I think you hit it on the head perfectly of like how a kid coming out of high school is looked at and viewed. Like, if you can see a kid that's already played 2 years at the collegiate level compared to not knowing fully what you're getting out of high school, like, you're going to, you know, lean toward the kid that's played college ball over the high school kid. Yeah. And that's, you know, hard for a coaching staff to differentiate, you know, year in and year out.
Yeah, it definitely is. It makes it a little bit harder for fans who you know, historically have gotten the chance to see a player grow over the years, and now it's like a whole different roster every single season. Yeah. So that fan connection, and I've heard a lot of fans mention that's a part that they don't necessarily like, and understandably so.
All right, Etan, thanks for your time. We will talk to you next Monday.
Always great. Thanks, bud.
All right, appreciate it.